So if you are using Windows or anything, whatever, go to command prompt and type this command, nslookup. This is why, because this command, it will come. Actually, there are three commands that is the most useful, most simple. One is ping. You of course know. One is ping, and other one is ping, telnet, and nslookup. I'm sure you all of you know these three commands. But I mean, ping anyway. It's a very simple command. Maybe some options like W and all you don't know, but it's very simple. Everyone we are using every day. Telnet, most of them. I mean, I know many of you use it very well, but many of us. I mean, we are. I'm approaching it like a junior system administrator level here. Many of you are very seniors, I know, but just pardon me if I'm assuming that you are dumb. I mean, you are not. That I know that. And nslookup. So this three, if you don't know these three commands very well, your many issues, your day-to-day life, you cannot solve it. So ping, I'm not explaining ping. It's a very simple command. Maybe you need an option like this to learn, but you can easily Google it. Telnet, maybe in another session when I'm explaining this TCP port, another firewall security port and everything, I will explain telnet how to effectively use for troubleshooting. Today we will discuss nslookup. nslookup is the one mainly we are discussing. nslookup is very important tool for troubleshooting. So when I'm coming to nslookup, I will try to explain what is the DNS concept. So we will go that way. So if you have already typed nslookup, anyone joining from mobile, maybe they cannot use it. Anyone joining here from their mobile phone? Hello?
No.
Okay. So if you have typed nslookup, type set type is equal to ns. Okay. You have you typed type is equal to ns?
Yes, Farooq. Yes. Go ahead.
Okay. The thing is, sometimes you may feel on the screen and on your Windows, maybe minor difference you may see because I'm using Linux. But if you find difficulty, any command is throwing error, just tell me. So this is set type is equal to ns. So this normally when you are using nslookup, you don't do this type command. Okay. So by default type is equal to a. This type is equal to ns. So when we are coming this set type is equal to ns, I am explaining you one concept. This is, you have 4 or 5 type of DNS records. So what are the DNS records? So basically the name lookup is as a concept. When I'm writing, can you see like this?
Yeah.
Okay, because it's a tool I'm familiarizing myself. So if you have a site, if you are hosting a site like one, this type of, when they started internet back in 1980 or something, this IP address was enough. There was few sites. People, I mean, only people with highly technical people were using that. Then later they found you need to have names. Okay, so there are name schemes, and there should be some mechanism to map this domain name to IP address. That was the concept. That was the concept of name server. So on the first, there was only one type. I mean, you can say two types. One is NS and other is A. A record, you may know, this mapping is a record. You have a name and you are mapping it to an IP address. That is called a record. NS record is called name server. These two records, I will try to show you. If you are using GoDaddy or something, let's say you have a GoDaddy account. This is my GoDaddy account. I'm managing few. So if you have a GoDaddy account, most of you are using it. But I'm just explaining for when you are trying to add record, they will ask what are the records. So there are name server record, A record, CNAME, MX, TXT, SRV, AA, and CA. So first thing is name server. But normally when you are registering a site, they will not show you this because by default, most of the registration companies like the GoDaddy, Bluehost, and all, they have this. By default, there is an NS name server. Name server is NS. Okay. So basically, what happens when you are registering, your domain is mapping with something. Okay, that is. So if I say I have a domain name, this STS Capital, there is you see it here. You type any domain there on your screen, and you will see it here. Any domain on the screen, you will see it here.
Sorry, excuse me, someone is on mute. Please mute.
Yeah, someone
everyone.
can mute it. I'm not very much encouraging muting because I like you responding. But if you really want to mute it. Okay. Because as I told you, I don't have much teaching experience. If you are commenting on, I'm happy with that. But okay, it's up to you. Hmm? Okay. Some kids playing. I don't know. Maybe. Okay. I don't know who is that. Okay. Here, when I'm doing it, there is whatever domain you are typing here, it will throw you the name server NS record here, whatever. So it will throw you a NS record here. It will be like it is at the time of registration. It is there. So if you say you have so many registration companies like GoDaddy, Bluehost, and everything. So if you are registering on just one, if they are giving you one name server, so how it's all coordinating, that's one question. It's called root servers. Maybe you know, if you want to see the root server for NS lookup, just type your dot. Can you type a dot there and type enter on NS lookup? You see that? Okay. Okay.
Yes, we can see from A to G. Yes.
Okay. You are seeing it. These are the main internet servers. I mean, it is everything is there. If the servers are down, internet is down. That's it. Because this GoDaddy or whoever, whatever the domain is coming, there is a registration in this domain server. But your A record, MS record, and it's not there in the server. It is there in the GoDaddy server. But on this one, on the root server, your name server is stored in the root server. So if you are making a query about your CNN.com, this is a normal example I use. If you are using CNN.com on your browser, it will go to I mean, there is another procedure. I mean, I will explain that. It will go to your ISP like Uridu, then it will go to another ISP, it will go to root server. It's like that. But finally, it will reach here on a root server. From the root server, it will know that where is the name server. On that name server, it will find where is your A record. A record is generally WW and okay. So here on these root servers are stored in, it's actually the original internet. Actually, it's stored in US Department of Defense, US Army, NASA, University of Maryland, University of Southern California. It's like that. I mean, big guys. These servers are never going to down. I mean, if some company bankrupt, if you don't have the server, this companies like GoDaddy bankrupt, in the entire internet will be down. So to stop that, it's under US Army and US Department of Defense, NASA and all. I mean, it will be there. The internet will be there. So don't worry, unless some tsunami hits entire America. So that now this is now you found on NS lookup how to find this one. And you also found how this GoDaddy and all storing your records. This is on the this DNS GoDaddy and all having a record. Okay. Now when you are typing on internet, it is coming like www.cnn.com, something like that, and it will give you a response. So there is this. Many people are assuming the www record, actually there is something default. It's not actually, it's a record. On every, when you are registering, your registration and your hosting, because many of people hosting in the same GoDaddy or same Bluehost or something, they don't understand the difference. But if you are registering your domain name in GoDaddy and you are hosting your server, let's say in your office, here in Doha, so you need to have something called www record. Actually, you don't need, because generally everyone type www. That's the reason, because you need to have a W. But it's not mandatory or something. If you just type your edition.cnn.com, it will come. So when I typed www.cnn.com, it came to edition. Actually here, there is something called, so that's the next one I'm going to show you. When you are creating, okay, AR code, I didn't show you how to create. There's an AR code, and you can put it something like www and point it to something like 78.100 or something like that. And if you put it after you save it here on the NS lookup, if you type cnn.com, I mean like www.cnn.com, it will return like this. Can you see that? Okay, no, it's NS. Sorry, it's NS, because it's NS. I already explained. If anyone has doubt about NS, just tell me. Now I am showing you that type is equal to A. A is the record that we are creating. So if you put here www.cnn.com, what you see here, you can see many IP addresses. Or if you put google.com, you will see even more. Why there are more than one IP? Because they are geographically spread this IP. Somebody needs to stop, mute it. I don't know. I don't know. Okay. Why you see many IP address here? Because they are geographically spread it. Like Google has a server here in Doha and one in Singapore, one in India, one in UAE and all. So you may see many, but normally for a company here in Doha, you will see only one IP address. Like our poor company, you see only one IP. Okay, we have only one server. So if you get it, that's it. That's the way to work. So how to, because so many people here in this group, actually they are setting up DR sites. I know that personally. I'm working on that. So this question always comes. How to manage DNS? So DNS actually work on round robin. So Google has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So if you have a query going to 1, if the server is not available, it will go to next. I mean, even if it's available, next query will go to here. Next query, it will round robin. And any of it is down, it will go. So you have a public IP address on your main site and your public IP on the other side. And if you want your site or portal to up all the time, you need to do DNS round robin. I mean, DNS load balancing. So inside the GoDaddy and all, wherever, you can create multiple records for this thing. That is one. Actually, it will be useful for many of you as a concept. Right. Now I will come back to something different. Set.
Hello, Farooq.
Yeah, tell me.
Yeah, a quick question actually. Okay, because I could see that you type set type equal to A or set type equal to NS. Is it kind of thing mandatory to check these things? Because
maybe you were late. Actually, when you put NS lookup, first by default it will throw some result that would be normally enough for you. So you don't need to set anything. So it's like you put simply you put like this and it will return everything. Okay, this is actually people need a record only. They are not looking any other record. A record, MX record, that's all. Okay, so a record it will generally throw. There are some other options like server. I will come to you. That is very important for you. That is when I'm coming to when you're configuring active. Here, set type is equal to MX. This is not NS. Don't confuse. This is MX. I know most of you don't. You know that. This is important now in this current scenario because so many people moving from other hosting company there or Exchange server to the Microsoft 365 or Google or something like that. At that time, they will ask you to make some changes on MX record. So what is MX record? This is, okay. Now, if you are sending a mail from your Outlook to or your Google account to someone like John at CNN.com or something like that. If you are sending a mail to somebody in CNN, the mail may Exchange server or any mail server, their mail servers will not look into A record or NS record or anything. They will look one record. That is MX record. This is something that you must always remember. Mails are not looking anything other than MX record. So if your MX record is where is the MX record pointing, the mail will go there. So if you have a domain name like yourcompany.com and it was hosting your mail server with Ooredoo in the past, the MX record should be going to something like 89.211, something like that. And when you are moving to Microsoft, it will be something like 2.28 or something like that. So you will change the MX record. So you need to find what is MX record. I'll just say. So what my company, if I say set type is equal to MX and I type my company, okay, you will see here mail. You can see here, is it very small?
No, it is fine. We could I could see that, no issues. Yeah.
Okay. So I mean you can type on your computer also. I told you before. So this one, this is you can see mail. Actually, my company is using Google email service. I mean that what is called it Google app. Okay. So we are hosting that. So you can see here they have two MX. One is for apmx.l.google.com. The second one is apl.google. So if there is a priority also, it's elementary. You have lower priority, you will go here. Higher priority, I mean, if the one is not available, it will go to second. You can have multiple exchange servers, multiple exchange servers. So wherever this is okay. So you naturally ask me now why it is a name, why it's not an IP address. I wonder why no one asked that question. Okay. So there is another type of record that I will show you. It's called CNAME. CNAME is actually you can have a name against another name, something like that. So why Google will not give us their IP address to us. They will give you one domain and they are mapping it to something else. That's why because Google, they are always changing the servers and all. So at that time they will only change their record, not the. So if they give IP address here, they will need to always ask us to change from here to here and all. And if it's a domain name, when they are changing the server from one location to other, they will just change the IP address. That's why Microsoft and Google and all, they will always give you a name. They will not give you an IP address. It's for the convenience. So don't be surprised why MX record is showing name instead of IP. It can be IP, it can be name. So as I told you here, as we are hosting, some other small company, if you see, it will show this one. So that's MX record. Then there is something called set type is equal to ext. This is an interesting one. Nowadays you will see many companies, they ask you, your mail will go to spam. There are many reasons mails will go to spam. One of the reasons is it's a fundamental issue with this SMTP server. You know what? You can register a domain and you can put any place an exchange server and create the same domain. For example, your company name is you can set up a company an exchange server inside your office and put it as cnn.com and send a mail like cnn.com to anybody. That protocol is like that. So you can see so many mails coming on behalf of QP or some company here, some banks and all, because you can set up anybody can set up the protocol. SMTP is the protocol sending email, as you know. So anyone can set up an exchange server. Initially it was okay because nobody was going to set up exchange server in their house and spending small. It was fine. But when the technology, when everyone starting to use internet and all, they cannot. There is no actual solution to that problem because you are a big company like Microsoft or Google or whatever. You have thousands of offices across the world. You want to send mail with the same company and you will set up exchange servers everywhere and you will send it. You have stuff, actual stuff. So that provision, everyone will use it. Spammers will use it. Hackers will use it to send email. So recently, this internet, these big bosses, they came to something called SPF1. SPF. There is something called SPF record. This SPF actually, it is on your when you are registering your domain, you need actually put all your exchange servers that are supposed to send your email. IP address. So if you have 10 offices, one in India, one in Dubai, one in here, and you put your IP address as a sender name, SPS for sender, something like that. I don't remember, but that's the SPS. So when they created that protocol, something they realized, there is no SPF record. There is nothing called SPF record, because the mail server, I mean the domain server, it has certain things and it doesn't have something called SPF record. I mean, initially it wasn't there. So they wanted to solve this problem. So what they do, there is something called text record. So they asked all the mail servers to put something called SPF there. You can see if you are typing it on your computer, set type is equal to txt, set type is equal to txt, and then type any domain name, then you will see it. If you find, when you're typing, if you find any problem, maybe some syntax error or something, just ask me. I'll check it. Here, you see it here, SPF1. It's very small. I don't know how to make it big. I'm very new to this training. Sorry. So here, you can see one server IP. This is another IP. These are two exchange servers we are sending. So if anyone's setting our company name as somebody like you in your house, setting up an exchange server with my domain server and try to send a email to some other company like Doha Bank or something, please transfer Farooq $1 million to my account or something like that. So what will happen? It will go to spam. I mean, it not necessarily go to spam. If you go to somebody like here, if you go to Google and there is something called show original, and on Microsoft there is something called show code or something like that. Not sure. I am using Google. You can see here something SPF pass. Okay, this SPF pass, why it's coming? Because I have registered here this IP address as a sender IP address. Don't look at this because this is if I am sending a mail, this is somebody other send me mail. They have put it this IP. This is actually somebody from datavoice.com send me this mail. Datavoice.com send me this mail, and you can see here their SPF record. Okay, these are their SPF record. The SPF, as I told you, they are mapping it. So here you can see the SPF record they are supposed to send it. They are using Outlook, so they added Outlook account. I don't know the IP, but Google, any receiver will check it. So when they are checking it, they will put your pass. So if they are putting it pass, then only it will come to your inbox nowadays. Otherwise, it will go to your spam mail. So a lot of people, they used to ask me why they are, sometime it's going to spam or junk mail box, because it's not always go, because the spam checking, these people, they have so many criteria. This is one of the criteria, but it's a major criterion. So when you are doing, when you're moving to 365 or when you're doing anywhere else, you need to add this SPF record. Okay, that's one thing. So SPF record per se, there is nothing called SPF record in the domain. You need to add it as a text, and if you check it on Google, what is the correct format for 365 or something to add it here, it will throw up. So I'm not explaining how to do that. So that is one record. So I explain name A. If anyone not getting it, just ask me. A, CNAME, MX, TXT, SRV, and AA. This is for A is for IPv6. I'm not going into this other two. Okay, this is the important thing. Now I will go to how you are configuring it inside your, okay. I'll just, before that, I will do something called reverse DNS. As we are discussed with the spam, There are two reasons the mail will go to spam. Major reason, because the system administrators are not very careful on these two. One is SPF record, I already explained to you. The second one is this reverse DNS. Reverse DNS is something, how I'll explain it. You know, this is, you have CNN.com and it's mapped against an IP, let's say 2.3.5.6 or something like that, this IP. This, it is called, if a name is mapped against IP, it is called forward record. I mean, it's normally saying a record, but it's forward. And if an IP is mapping against a name, it is called reverse DNS. I mean, is it confusing or it's simple?
No, it's clear.
It's clear. Okay. So how you map an IP to against a name? This question, you know, you cannot go to GoDaddy or somewhere and make this, you know, because they don't have IP. IP is normally you are getting from Ooredoo, Vodafone, companies like that. So you have to send an email to them and ask them, this IP, I need it against this domain. That is called reverse DNS. So if you have an IP, then, but nowadays, most of you are purchasing cloud from Microsoft or Google or something. They give you an IP address for your server. So you can just map it against a name. They are giving you a control panel. But this GoDaddy and all, as you are not hosting inside them, they are not giving. So reverse DNS is very important. Let's say if you have an IP, this is when you are typing here a name and it's throwing an IP here. Okay, sorry, I'm changing the set. Okay, set IP is equal to a. Okay, here it's throwing an IP, right? So if you type this IP here instead of this, it will give you a name. Okay, it's given different name. That's not a problem because companies don't check the name. Because normally, if you have worked with the Exchange server in the past, you know, several companies can be on a same Exchange server. You don't need to have separate Exchange server for separate companies. Same IP address, and you can have 1,000 companies. No problem. So one IP, you can have 1,000 companies. So when you are doing reverse DNS, the mail receivers, they will not check it's against which company, because it's practically impossible. So they will check whether it's there or not. A reverse DNS is simply there or not. That's it. So if you are hosting, whether it's in your company, your premise, or on the Google or wherever, you have to do SPF record and reverse DNS. Otherwise, your mail will go to spam. So here on the, I told you before on the Google thing, they will show you this RDN or something. It shows somewhere. I'm not taking your time, but it shows somewhere, or you can just type it here. Type it here, the IP address, whether the reverse DNS is available against that or not. You can just type it here. It will show you what is the name against that IP. And actually, it simply means you purchase the IP, and that IP, you are the owner of that IP. That's it. So that is a reverse DNS. Now, I don't know. Now what I want to tell you. So now we will come to our company privilege. There is Farmhouse and all DNS load balancing TTL. Okay, one thing, TTL. There is, when you are typing it here, if you are using Windows, NS lookup, and you don't need it this command, you don't need it on Windows. But if you are typing it here on the NS lookup, you need something here. It is called TTL. Can you see that? TTL? Anyone?
Yes, yes. Time to live, right?
It's time to leave. Time to leave. Okay. So this time to leave, it is, when you're registering a name or changing an IP address, they will say you it will propagate after 24 hours. It will be ready after 24 hours. It will be ready after 1 hour something. There is when you are making a record inside the GoDaddy, there is something called TTL. This TTL, normally it's, for example, if you have a website, you are not changing the servers and all, it's always there. So you will put it something like 1 week, 1 day, because what will happen, you have an exchange, you have a DNS server, because DNS server, actually we haven't come to DNS server. I'll just come to that, because when you are configuring your network card, there is DNS server, DNS1 and DNS2. So we used to put it 212.77.192.59 for Ooredoo, 8.8.8. This Google or something. So this DNS servers, they stop it. I mean, they will keep a record. They will keep a record as a cache. So if the TTL of this, for example, if it's 1 week, if somebody making a query for a record, and this Ooredoo server, they got the record, then they will keep it for 1 week. They will not change it until 1 week. So if your server is crashed and you are moving to another IP address, the website will be down for 1 week. Got it? Okay. Now, nowadays normally it's 1 day, and even it's changed to 1 hour, because the thing is, why you put it on top, because this hosting companies, they don't want to overload, because if you put it down, all the enquiries after 1 hour, Ooredoo will send it to the original name server, so they will keep it low. So the minimum you have is half an hour on a normal server. So we have a problem here. Most of our companies, we don't have a static IP address, but we have VPN, we have hosting, we are doing so many things. When the IP change, what will happen in this case? It will take minimum half an hour, or normally for every GoDaddy giving half an hour option, others are doing 1 hour option. So until 1 hour, this is not going to change. It will be there. So how you solve it? Because your IP changing and you want to continue the VPN and IP and everything. So you need some servers with minimum downtime, like 60 seconds or 5 minutes maximum, because otherwise your system is down whenever the IP is on. So there are other companies like DynDNS, or what is that, free IP, something like that. So if you type it here, this CNN and all, their TTL is, they have logo. TTL is high. I mean, so some companies, if they have luxury, they are keeping low also. So I'm just typing here DynDNS address. This is, see here, this is qatar.dynDNS.org. Somebody hosting it, I don't know. Qatar.dynDNS. Check the TTL here. Okay, sorry, Qatar.dynDNS.org. Okay, check the TTL here. Can you see the TTL? It is 59 seconds. So our servers, whether you are having an Active Directory server in your company, or Ooredoo server, or whatever server, they will only keep this IP against this name only 59 seconds. So if you are changing it, so after 59 seconds, new name will come. So your VPN and everything will up. If you are using a 9DNS, it will be up after 1 minute. It will be down 1 minute, that is for sure, but you will not notice it. But it will be up after 59 seconds. But if you are using standard companies, it will be up after maybe 1. Hello?
Michael, please mute. Michael.
Sorry.
Okay. Fine. So that is about the TTL. If you don't get the concept, if you need more clarity on that, you can just ask. Now we are coming to the last thing, server. If you have DNS in front of you, just type a command, server 8.8.8. Oh, sorry. You can do that. Hello?
Yeah.
Everyone muted. Okay.
No, yeah.
Yes, it's resolving to dns.google.com. Yeah.
Now, actually, what I want to say, you are setting up an Active Directory inside your company. Normally, many of you have an Active Directory inside your company. So you are a DHCP server. Maybe we can have a DS session on DHCP and AD and all. Some expertise, if they are in the group, they can volunteer. We can do that. But my basic understanding of Active Directory, you need a DNS server on an Active Directory. So on the Active Directory, if you have a DNS server, all your computers, the first primary DNS server for the computer will be your Active Directory. Is that correct? Yeah.
No.
Okay. So what happens? You have something like yourcompany.com or yourcompany.local as an Active Directory, and you have your own Active Directory DNS server. So your computers will make an inquiry into your Active Directory server. So what happens if that Active Directory doesn't have, that DNS server doesn't have something like cnn.com, you will get an error on your browser, like this domain is not available. So we will put something called forwarders. I'm sure most of you know that it's forwarders. Okay. So I don't have a Windows server here to show you, but I will try to find a picture here on Google. But if somebody have a DNS server on their custody, you can just you can look into that. I don't have it. So we have Google here. So in the forwarder, there is on a tab called forwarders. Tab called forwarders in the DNS server. So if your Active Directory is yourcompany.local or yourcompany.com or something, if you are typing cnn.com, it will forward that inquiry into this one. It will forward that inquiry into the IP address you set up inside the forward. This is very important. I found so many people don't have it. Normally it will go because there is some cache or something, there are root errors and all. But internet will be slow and your users will face many problems. So these forwarders are very important. You have to have it. And there is inside this, there is something called split also. Because if you have multiple offices and branches and all, so you don't want all the inquiry go to Google instead, because for example, you have a company here and in Dubai, they have an Active Directory, you have an Active Directory. So some of it should go to Dubai DNS server. There will be something like split DNS or something. Exactly, if I had a Windows server, I should have shown that. But here, there are some options like that. You can split the DNS server, send some traffic to some server, some traffic to other server. But generally, for a small company with single brand, you use this forward. So you will send everything to this. And a troubleshooting say, I mean, when I'm getting normally complaints about the internet is not working, some site is not going or something, what happens actually, this basic troubleshooting people normally miss. So please note this down. This is one of the very important things. Here you type server is equal to your Active Directory. Active Directory DNS. I'm typing it here because I don't have an Active Directory server. Server okay. Normally it will be 192.168.100.2 or something like that, because it will be an internal IP address for your Active Directory server. So what happens here, if you put it this, the server command, it will not check your interface card or any other configuration for name resolving. Just it will only check this server. NS lookup will only check this server. Whatever you are typing it here, it will not check your card. Even you don't have any DNS server inside the card, no problem. You put some other Active Directory, no problem. It will only check here. So this is a very, very important troubleshooting. So here you put your own company and type the domain name. It will tell you something like server can't find this domain. This is that you will get. Why you are getting this on when you are using your own DNS server? Because you don't have forwarders. Straight, correct? Get that? Okay. You don't have forwarders. You put forwarders. Okay. Now, if you are not getting on your server, but at the same time you can put it like server 212.77.192.15. Then you will get it there. Okay, that means the domain is available on Google server. The domain is available inside the. If you want to check it on Ooredoo server, this is the Ooredoo server. I think most of you are familiar with this number. This is one. So it is available there also, but it's not available on your server. That's the reason basically you don't have forwarders. And if you have forwarders, but still not getting, that means your DNS server cannot contact your forwarder. So what I will tell you, maybe you have firewall or something. DNS is operating on TCP port 53. So just note in case you TCP 53. So normally if you have firewall or something, I'll just telnet into your from that server to the DNS server. Then it will open a screen like that. It's just, I mean, telnet. I'm sure many of you know that. Maybe somewhat you don't understand why you are using telnet like this, but this way it will open. So if you are not, if the 53 port is not opening from your server, It's an issue. It cannot contact. Maybe you have a firewall issue or something. In this moment, I will tell you something as a security measure normally. There is something called DNS hijack. If the session is going long and you are boring, if you want, I can stop. Otherwise, I will take 10-15 minutes. Okay, fine.
Farooq bhai, please go ahead. It's more than interesting.
Okay. Thanks. Because I don't know, because I am very informal kind of explanation. Maybe you are getting bored. I don't know. If you are really getting bored, just tell me. Maybe I will try to improve my skill. Okay. Now there is something called DNS hijack. This is a trick hackers use normally. DNS hijack. This actually, I know many of the financial company people are in this meeting, and there are some government company people also in this. Some of them are faceless. Some of them may face it also. So this DNS hijacking is a thing. A virus or something will put, a spider or virus will put something inside your computer and put it as, it will map instead of, for example, let's say Doha Bank. Let's say Doha Bank IP is let's say here almost everything started 89, so I put 211 2.3. Let's say Doha Bank IP is this one. They actually put a virus inside your computer. It's a common case. It's not some imaginative thing. It happens all the time. They will put a virus inside that, and they will map it into their server, something like 21.3.81.2. This is a server they set up exactly like Doha Bank in Nigeria, let's say. And they have the same interface and everything. You will put username, password, token, everything. They will take your username and they will go to actual Doha Bank and they will transfer the money. Okay. So this is called DNS hijack. And one very, so how you stop this DNS hijacking? Of course, you will have antivirus and all. This is all waste of money. We both know. So one of the major security measures that big companies take, they will use one DNS server, only one or two DNS server inside their company, and they will block all other DNS traffic that will happen on TCP 53, like I showed you before, from all other machines. So even you have any virus infected computer, even they have installed a DNS server, a proxy DNS server, a DNS hijack, it cannot send a traffic outside. To this Nigeria. If that computer will simply not work because firewalls will not allow this TCP. They have to go through your original DNS server, then only the traffic will go to that. So here, like we explained, this DNS server and the forwarder, that will be the only thing. And one more thing we will do, that destination, because when you are creating a firewall rules, I think all of you are familiar with firewalls, right? So when you are creating a firewall rule, you will create source and destination, of course. Source and destination. So this port number 53, you will limit from your DNS server, and to your forward. Let's say you put forward as 8.8.8. So DNS traffic will go from DNS and do this Google DNS. So there is no scope of any DNS manipulation for all these Chinese Nigerian people. There is no scope of it. So on the firewall, maybe we will have a firewall rule session in the future. Not sure if any of you want to join. We will do some things like that. So this is one important feature. So even you don't have a local DNS server inside your company, you can restrict DNS traffic to the standard DNS server, that is either Ooredoo or the Google. Restrict it. Don't allow DNS traffic to everyone. Restrict it because DNS hijacking is very common. Okay, that is what I forgot. I kept note. Okay, so here one thing. DNS and there is a resolve file. You have a host file that anybody. Okay. You all of you know the host file, right? Should I say host file inside the Windows? You can put a mapping yourself. You don't need any DNS server. Just put any domain name and put an IP address. I think all of you know that. I'm not explaining that. Then you know the command ipconfig / DNS. This command, if anybody is not, I think most of you are familiar. So just take down if this command is not familiar for you. This is ipconfig / DNS, because if your DNS changed, your computer always have a DNS cache. So if the actual mapping is changed and it's not updated in your computer, just use this command. Oh, it's not IF, it's IP. IF is for Linux. ipconfig / DNS. Use that. Then, okay, one last point I want to discuss here. This is the last point. Many of the companies I found, they are struggling on one issue. That is hairpin. That is something like hairpin. Oh, it's not hairpin. Okay. That is when it's coming to firewall. I will explain. This is something called, you have your own company here. Your company name is your company your company has a website hosted outside. That is www.yourcompany.com. It's hosted outside, and the error code for it, it's something like 21.23.8.5 or something. And you have an active directory inside your company with the same name, yourcompany.com. Okay. So when your users inside your company try to access this site, it will not go. The reason is your domain, your company, the full is there inside your active directory DNS. So it will not check outside. When it's sending the query outside, then only it will return a www. So you don't have a www record inside your company. So what you need to do, you need to have something called an extra zone inside. Oh, sorry, that's different. You need to have a www record inside your company active directory. So you can just go to forward lookup zone and add an additional record with this www and add it. I mean, if you have confusion, you can just ask me. Otherwise, I think IPv6 I am not planning to cover. I don't think it will happen in my lifetime. So I just check on it. So that's what. And there is something, just as a final point, if you don't know this, you can use it. Is called MX Toolbox. This is if your company is sending spam or something using your IP address, you can just look here for the blacklist. This is because I wrote it down in case at the time of spam checking, because I explained you how the spam and all going. So there is a site called the MX Toolbox. You can use that, and there are so many companies catching spam and put it in the blacklist. So you can just use that. I noted there, so it's not very much part of DNS, but you may require it. So that's it. That's all. Today's session. Okay. I hope it was interesting. Hopefully.
Very nice, Manu.
Yeah. So if you maybe just maybe, not sure, I will try to conduct a session on something like switching and routing sometime later.
Please, Farooq, yeah.
So maybe we will understand what is layer 2, what is layer 3, what is default gateway routing and things like that, static routing. I'm thinking about that, but because the thing is for this I need to if you want to arrange switching and routing, I need to put a switch and route. Actually, I need to type some command. Maybe I'll try. If anyone interested, just let me know. Otherwise, we can contact on Linux, Ubuntu, or maybe how to set up a cloud server or how to do things like that. Maybe we can contact another session. So
Sure.
Thank you for joining. All right. Thank you. Appreciate
thank you
you
for
all right. Okay.
Thank
How
you.
was
Thank
that?
you.
I mean, you
Thank
can
you,
just tell me how was it? It's okay, fine.
Yeah, it was good. Yeah. Farooq.
It was informative. You can
Information.
share some presentation to us.
I don't know. Maybe let me see. Okay. I mean, there is no presentation. I just take mic and explain to you. That's all. I mean, it wasn't an
No problem.
explanation.
It's okay.
Thank you,
it wasn't any
Farooq.
formal. All right.
Thank you, and also please include some firewall knowledge share as well in future. Better. I know you are very expert in Sonic Wall.
Yeah, I mean I can get some Sonic Wall actual guy. I mean, for Sonic Wall guys, Fortinet guys, Microsoft guys, and many of the people inside this group. I mean, right now listening, they are expert on many things. For example, I can see a guy here is very much expert on VMware and Hyper-V and all. If he can volunteer.
Yeah. Yes. That's good. Yes.
If he can volunteer, I'll be very happy, because why I am the only person boring you. Some others can also bore you, right? So if someone can, I mean, there are subjects that people, I mean, system administrators, you may all require. So if somebody feel they are very good in that, just come. Some people are very good in Oracle. Somebody are Oracle performance tuning and that type of things. I mean, which I have no idea. So if they are there, we can just conduct the class. So if anyone come forward and volunteer, we can do it in anytime. All right.
Good.
Yes,
Thank you.
that's a good.
Thank you.
Sure.
Thank you.
Sure.
Farooq,